Did you know that women leave men 80% of the time? And if they're college educated, it's 90. So if you get divorced, it's 80% of the time like the woman leaves. And one of the number one predictors of divorce is actually if the woman out earns the man.
Oh, I love that. I actually love that. I can't lie. I actually
You love that? You don't think that's
that.
kind of
No, I'm like, girl, you go get that. You go get a man and like, yeah, you go get that. Like,
really?
yeah.
Like, why is there like a lack of empathy for men?
It's not a lack of empathy.
But there is, because like they're breaking up a family and a lifelong commitment in a home, and your reaction is you go get the bag, sis, or like I'm so happy for you. When that's actually that's a sad situation. Like your wife is leaving you.
Bless the Lord, brothers and sisters. So happy to be back yet again, and thank God for you tuning in. What an intro, huh? This is how a lot of people think these days, brothers and sisters. You know, a lot of women out there just think this way, that they don't need a man, that they can do it all by themselves, an independent mindset. They can have a baby on their own, and they can just pretty much do it all. And I think, listen, if this is the route that you want to take, hey, this is the route that you want to take, I'm not going to stop you. You know, there's a lot of different options out there. But the genesis, I believe, of this message had to do with a comment that one of the listeners had left, and I want to elaborate on that. Thank you so much for your comment. Listen, there's going to be more videos to come as the Lord leads. If you feel that there's something on your heart and mind that you want me to talk about or share, please leave it in the comments. I do try to read and respond to all of my comments. So I thank you so much for taking the time out. Listen, it may be a raw or in-your-face comment, subject that's kind of taboo. I would rather us talk about it and get some type of biblical and spiritual resolve, as opposed to you having this weight on your heart and maybe not getting any answers to the questions that you may have. So without further ado, hope I won't be too long in this message. I know that you have a busy schedule, most of you out there, and have things to do. So I thank you for tuning in. But yeah, I want to talk today specifically about a mindset, pretty much. And just wanted to explore a little bit about being a successful helpmeet in a marriage. And a lot of people have different concepts of the way marriage is supposed to be. Some people feel that the woman is supposed to stay in the house, raise the kids, keep the house, meet the needs of the husband, and that's pretty much it. A lot of people have a different perspective, like pretty much working outside of the house and kind of juggling everything that, whatever else you have in your life in terms of your marriage. But me, particularly speaking from experience, on both sides of the coin, if you would, I was a stay-at-home mom, and I did work in the workplace as well. So I have both examples or experiences. And I will say this, to be honest with you, okay? When I was a stay-at-home mom full-time, right, I noticed that a lot of things in the household, the chores, the duties, the relationships with the children, the relationship with my husband and everything, for me particularly, okay? You have to have a certain mindset to do that successfully, okay? If you are out there, have a westernized, today's society, 2022 society of getting things done, getting a bag, family gotta wait, I'm trying to chase this money and this, that, and the third, and, whatever sticks. If you don't have that, I'm going to sacrifice to make sure that the house is running smoothly mindset, then you're going to regret staying home. Okay, you have to have a plan no matter what you do. Okay, and like I said, I personally felt that when I was a stay-at-home mom, and I hate to use that term because you don't stay at home, you do so many other things, but basically a woman who keeps house or manages the house as opposed to having a secular job or working in the workplace, right? A lot of stuff got done better, ran smoother in terms of things in the house, okay? When you try to divide yourself in so many different ways, something is going to get overlooked, something is going to get neglected, and something is going to be missed. Okay? Now, again, when you are physically have the opportunity to stay at home and keep the house, and if you're a good wife and a good mother, you're going to make sure that that house is maintained, clean, food is on the table, breakfast is done, homework is made, dishes, a myriad of things, chores, errands, washing of the clothes, making sure your husband is satisfied, taken care of, movies, whatever the case is. You are more of a domesticated helpmate in that regard, right? You're going to make sure that that is successful and that's flowing. It 9 times out of 10, if you're dedicating your time and mostly to that, is going to run smoother as opposed to you working outside of the home, right? And trying to juggle and fit things in here and there. You're only one person. Wives out there, and I'm talking specifically to wives out there. This message is more so geared to wives, but men, listen, people all over the world are hearing my messages. All glory to God. With that being said, working out in the office or working in the building, working for a company, whereas you're pretty much devoting your time to that company, building that company up, it's a sacrifice. I mean, something is going to be missed. There was times where I would, come home exhausted, couldn't see, my children, the times that I would like to see my children, all of a few hours. So there's sacrifices in time that you cannot get back. So everything is a trade-off. Everything is a trade-off. Whether you stay in the home, build the home, or you work outside of the home, everything is a trade-off. Everything, you may make more money, but you're trading time for dollars in a sense. Like you can't get the time that you're trying to, listen, a lot of people work and work and work, right? And they have a goal of, I want to make this much so I can, have this great vacation, or I can eventually spend time with my children, or I can have, this investment, made, and this, that, and third. But what about the time spent with your children, or, they're growing up, you can't see them as much. And by the time you save all of this money, they're ready to get out of the house, and you don't have them like you would have them if you would, be with them like on a day-to-day. So wives, this is a decision that has to be made in a diplomatic way with your spouse. I mean, the goal on the biblical standpoint was always for the wives to keep the house, okay? It was what it was. I mean, this is the way God designed it. Obviously, times have changed, but God's word has not changed. It doesn't mean that there's women out there that want to get an education or want to have secular jobs, that's a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. It's just that it's different. It's different from the way it was in biblical times. So with that being said, it's a choice. It's all about choice. It's all about choice. And if you can balance home life, marriage, children, and everything successfully, then I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. If it's a situation where something is getting neglected, like a lot of times it does, then maybe you should reassess the situation and say, what is more important to me and my household, me and my life, or me and my children? And again, it depends on the dynamic of the situation. You may have one child versus somebody that has 5 children. I mean, is it wise for you to pay all of these fees for childcare and work as opposed to teaching them at home, keeping the home and raising them at home? I mean, it's just all about common sense and what works best with you and your household. But again, let's go towards being a wise and a good helpmeet for your household. Well, basically, your goal was to get married, right? You wanted to have a career, go to school first, have a career, and then eventually get married, right? So now you're at the marriage stage, right? And now after marriage, eventually comes having children. So with that being said, you have to have a mindset, a marriage mindset, and then eventually a mommy mindset. And when you have a mommy mindset, you have to realize that marriage and being a mom puts you in the back burner. And a lot of women don't want to be put in the back burner. They want to be center stage. They want to get their hair and toes done every week. They want to be Miss Trophy girl or whatever. And that's in its place. But the bottom line is, if you realize that you have children that have needs and have desires and wants, they always are going to come center stage, and you are always going to become the person that may not get served first. You have to serve your husband first. You have to serve your children first. Everybody comes before you, and it takes sacrifice. It takes a lot of getting used to. It's not like you're becoming a slave. It's just that your ministry, if you would, is that of a servant. And if you don't have a servant mindset, then it's going to rub you the wrong way. And let's talk about wisdom. I want to talk about wisdom real quick, because it's very, very important that if you start anything, whether it be a marriage, a business, having children, or whatever the case is, you have to literally have a fear of the Lord. It's biblical. God says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Okay. Now, what does that mean exactly, the fear of the Lord? Well, the fear of the Lord meaning is it's a humbling yourself. It's a reverence. It's an honor that you have for God that far surpasses language, far surpasses words. It's just a knowing that this is your governor, this is your God and master, and you are not above him in any way. So that fear, that reverence, that honor, that allegiance to him in dedication goes without saying. So you have to go to God for your wisdom. You have to go to God for your direction and your guidance in everything you do. God, is it okay to do this? Is it okay to buy this, or that? What should I do, God? It's like you're constantly involving God with your everyday. And you will get confirmation. It'll all make sense, because God honors the fact that he's involved in your decision making. So how do you become a wise woman? You become a wise woman by reading the room of your life. Okay, I have a husband, I have children, things need to be done. Okay, how can I effectively and respectively get all these things done on a day-by-day basis without losing my mind, without losing, my without wasting time and getting everything done. Well, you have to have organization, and I'm big on organization. I'm big on having things in order and clean. And if you are a type of woman that's dirty and nasty and lazy when it comes to keeping your house clean, then that's your mindset. Period, point blank. You have a dirty, filthy, lazy mindset. I mean, would you want to go to a hotel that's dirty, nasty, and in disarray? No. You want everything to be nice, clean, orderly, refilled, washed down, wiped down. So anytime you go in your household and dishes are in the sink, and, the carpet is not vacuumed, or, it smells horrific, the garbage is not taken out, the tub is nasty, whatever the case is, it's a reflection of you and your mindset. There's a lot of women out there that are so beautiful. I mean, like drop dead gorgeous, but they're filthy and nasty. They live nasty. But if you literally, okay, outside of all the nice Instagram pictures and the facade that they're trying to perpetrate, if you knock on their door right now and want to be invited over their house, oftentimes, I'm not saying all women, because some women are, they have that marriage mindset. They're good women, they're good wives, they're good keepers of the home. They meet the needs of their husband, and they're amazing, just like me. And I have to say that because, listen, you come a long way, but you realize that, it has to be embedded in you as a woman, I believe. I mean, there's women out there that are trained But there's women out there that just don't want to do it. You trained in a household of being neat and clean, but some women out there just don't want to do it. They're not wired that way. So, as women, I want to encourage you, okay, to keep your home clean. Some people may say I have a little OCD. It serves me well. Praise the Lord. I thank God for my quote unquote OCD when it comes to keeping stuff clean, neat, wiped down, organized, because it serves me. Okay? It serves me well. If it doesn't serve you well, then don't do it. But if it serves your life and you look around and you can breathe, and if anybody comes around your house, you don't have to feel like, oh gosh, wait outside for 10 hours because I got to wipe down and reorganize. No, somebody knocks on your door and, if they're the right person and they're of God, welcome them in, and feel rest assured that you cleaned and you can offer them food without it being, a whorehouse. I have to reiterate this a lot because there's a lot of women that listening to my messages, and I don't know how they're living. They may live clean. They may live kind of clean. But there's a lot of women out there, to be real, they want husbands and they want big houses and diamonds and stuff, but they don't know how to cook. They don't know how to clean. They don't know how to keep house. They don't know how to keep their tongue. And all of these things, hear me, are attributes of a good helpmeet. Sometimes out there, brothers and sisters, you can have a woman that's clean, very clean, the house is clean, but then their heart is not clean. They have a bad attitude about everything. They have a me disposition, or just totally feeling, hear me, that the man is supposed to do everything. And you have to have a balance. Yes, men are supposed to do certain things, but as a wife, you have to meet the needs of the husband. And if you have to assess the situation of what needs to be done. Okay, and your first ministry of being a wife is to make sure that you are there for your husband, whether it be support his goals and, making sure that his passions and his desires and the things and goals and dreams and things that he wants to acquire, you support that. You support that. It doesn't mean that you can't give him advice here and there, or maybe, you have discernment about this or that. And you say, you know what, honey, maybe we shouldn't invest in that, or maybe, we should wait on that or whatever. What do you feel about that? Always give a man an option to have you in that dialogue without you feeling like you are overbearing or controlling his situation. Men don't want to be controlled by women, period, point blank. It's a turnoff to men. And a lot of women don't get that. They don't know how to submit. They think that submitting is slavery. They thinking, all of these negative things. But to be honest with you, to be an upright, wonderful woman of valor to your husband, wives, you have to exercise the spirit of humility. And if you're not humble and you don't exercise that spirit of humility, that meekness, that femininity, and that poise, it's a turnoff. Why do you think there's so many women out there that get dumped and they're beautiful? They are beautiful. Obviously, every situation is different. But I'm talking about your Halle Berrys. I'm talking about your Nia Longs, that women, are A-list type of women that all men just, lust after, or whatever the case is, or think they're amazing. They got the money and they got the beauty and they got the, notoriety. But why are these men dogging them out, and why are these men disrespecting them? There's one thing about a good man, and I'm not talking about all men, but good men, okay? Men that were raised by good men and love their moms too, but raised by good men of valor and taught them the right way of how to be a man, right? One thing about that good man is he's going to notice a great woman, and he's going to hold on tight, and he's going to honor that woman. There's a song, when a man loves a woman, and he does this, that, right? He knows that good woman is worth so much more by keeping her and having her raise them wonderful children and having her keep the house and having her love on him and do all that it encompasses to be a great wife. And what I think that a lot of women these days are getting it twisted is they're listening to a lot of other women that are giving them poor advice. And a lot of these women, hear me very clearly, a lot of these women that are giving these other women this advice, usually they're not in good marriages and they're single, right? Or they were divorced 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times and they're jaded. And they want to give these women this poor advice, right? For whatever reason, right? And when they give them this advice, if you're not strong enough and wise enough, right? And if you're not being led by great women who've been there, done that, right? And who are a valor themselves, then you're going to get this bad advice, right? From women that don't have it going on, right? Never, listen, women, never take advice from women who are not seasoned, not wise, and not doing it themselves. They have to have a blueprint of success themselves. In other words, hear me, right? If they have a good house, a good marriage, if they have integrity, if they are somebody who, women want to pretty much get advice from and they're wise and all this good stuff, you want to basically connect yourself with like-minded women. Because there's a whole lot of women out there, but there's not a lot of great women out there. And being a great woman has a lot to do with sacrifice and learning to be humble and learning to sometimes be in the back burner or being not center stage and not propped up, but getting the job done effectively and amazingly, knowing how to prepare a meal. Even a lot of women don't even know how to do that effectively and the importance thereof. And like I said, I'm not saying don't get a job. I'm not saying don't have a career or don't go to school. I'm not saying that. There's a lot of women who can, in fact, juggle both. I don't know how, but they're just wired to just do it all. But I don't know. I just think that there's, on a biblical standpoint, you have to have some time for yourself as well. And if you do all of that work in the house, outside the house, maintain marriage, maintain house, maintain children, maintain your sanity, take care of your business, dude, there's a lot of hats. And honestly speaking, something in that mix is going to get neglected, something. So again, I would say assess the situation, balance your life accordingly. What doesn't need to be there, get rid of it. There's a lot of people that have a lot of baggage in their lives that needs to literally go. Sometimes some women just need to clean out their bags, their purse. They may have receipts in there. They may have old things from old places that they need to just get rid of, tear up, organize, and breathe. I think that breathing is important as well. So if this message bless you, I'm happy about that. But again, there's a lot of different ways and a lot of different ideologies, but God in his wisdom has set the blueprint on how he wanted marriage and family. And the truth of the matter is a lot of families are breaking down, if you hadn't noticed, because they had that ideology of, oh, I just want to get the bag and put the man in the back burner. And when they put the man in the back burner and the children first, everything's out of order. You can't put your children first and your husband is just floating in the wind and expect a successful marriage and expect a successful life. God has everything in order. It's God, man, woman, child. And a lot of people don't want to put the order in the right order. They want women. They want children. They want God and then the man. Or the man, then God, and the back burner. So, just reassess your life and see how things are, going. What order do you have your life in? Leave it in the comments. Seriously, if you're married, right? This is a bit of homework I want you to do real quick. And I want you to be perfectly honest. I want you to be perfectly, brutally honest. How are things going in your life, in your marriage? Is it you first, then your children, then your man, and then God? Or is it your children first, then it's your man, then it's God, then you at the bottom? Because the reason why I want you to write this down is because we need, hear me, in the body of Christ, specifically women. I'm talking about women. And men, if you feel like doing it, if you feel like, you're a little bit out of order and you want to tangibly, physically write it down to see, then we need to tweak a little bit of things. And, because if you write it out, then you can visually see what's wrong. And then when you figure it out what's wrong, then you can make adjustments and changes. We all need help. There was a time when hear me, I put my husband first, right? And then I put the children, and then I put myself, and then God was in the back burner. That's how it was for me. And then I had to assess the situation and say, wait a minute, this is why my life is XYZ. So bless the Lord, do the assignment, write it in the comments. Let's build, let's pray. The next one is going to be a prayer. I'm going to do a next video, and it's going to be a prayer, a warfare prayer, specifically dealing with women and being a great and an amazing wife. A prayer to God. Look out for that next video. Bless the Lord.